Hey everybody, welcome back to another week of locals. I'm enjoying Premium Booster 2. A lot of the decks that I have been trying with some of the new cards have felt pretty good. You know, a lot of the off-meta stuff as always on the channel kind of. But if you want to check out the playmat that I'm using in the video, you can check out Nen Garden. Use my code StrawHatPecan for 8% off. It should be on top of any other sales. I've also got a TCG player affiliate link if you're going to be buying cards. But as always, be nice to my opponents and everybody in the videos. They're doing me a favor by allowing me to record at locals. Of course, all just for fun at the end of the day. This isn't even like a really highly competitive locals, I would say. And I'll have the deck list at the end if you're curious. There's like a couple of one-ofs that honestly, I probably would just change up because I just didn't have the time to find like a proper replacement for it. But thoughts on that at the end. Playing green, yellow Yamato with the new 2K counter Otama. I think it made the deck very aggressive and was, like we've talked about on the channel before, a good replacement for Toniyasu. I don't even know if you need it as like a 4-of, but we were trying it today just to get more practice with it. First time playing with the new card in person. So let me know what you think, what you've been playing in Premium Booster 2, and of course, let's get into things. So today, starting off, we are going against BY Luffy with that new ace in the deck, right? Kind of bringing the deck a little bit new life, right? A lot of people have been coping on it, I'd say. It's definitely not in its glory days of with Gecko Moria and Ice Age and everything like that, but I have seen people have some good luck with it. We are going second. We have a couple of good banish swings, although, you know, against BY, it's kind of, they can just reuse some of its. It depends on what you banish out. That's the real gamble. But he just goes 8 at us, and of course the first life is Kikunojo, crying internally because of that. So here we can either play out Kikunojo or we just go 7 banish and hope we hit good targets, right? If we hit 5-cost characters that he just bring back out of trash, then it's like, it's still resources out of his hand, you know? But he does counter out. Luckily, we can kind of use that to our advantage, you know, use Ashura Doji or another banish. We've got some Kumas. I'm loving Kuma in the deck. The Hawkins for 1k, so we don't go down too low. He plays out the Luffy to trash the life, draw a card, buff that Luffy. We'll get rid of that though because he's still at 3 life. We've got Ashura Doji out here to do that for us. Ashura has very quickly become one of our favorite cards in the decks. I say our because everybody loves Ashura Doji. Come on. We go 6 of life with the banish after playing Ononami to give leader banish. Against like a bunch of 5 life leaders, even 4 life leaders, it's really good. You know, you put your opponent in such an awkward position. They counter out of a banish swing early. They're punished by getting a 5 cost removed to remove their tempo. He's only 3 costs, which leaves us more Don in our like 6 Don turn to do exactly what we just did, getting even more cards out of their hand by applying some banish swings. Even if banish swings don't connect, it's about getting cards out, burning resources, especially against BY. If you're a newer player and haven't played against BY before, it's very much a resource game. You know, they will eventually burn out in their hand size, even if they're going to be a 7k or a 9k leader for a few turns, which is harder to connect swings with, obviously. To consistently use their lead ability, it's going to be a little bit tougher. So you place out the new, gets the new-ish Sabo, right, from I think set 12, the 5 cost that you take a life to your hand and then I think draw 2 trash 1. So pretty good for Luffy, right? And then I believe he gets buffed cost on board too, which is nice. But yeah, we have Kuma to stall us a few turns. We've got Hody. My favorite combos, he goes 5 at us and we take because we have the Kuma, and I'm yeah, I could have anticipated an ace rush, but oh, I also did make a mistake. I could have formed a blocker one of these turns with the Izo, but I forgot. That was my mistake for the match, right? But one of my favorite combos with the new Otama, making going second just super strong, is to play it out and then following turn, hit him with a Mihawk into Basil Hawkins, applying a big swing. Right. Even if we're going down to 3 life, you know, they'll most likely want to clear something on our board. You know, they'll have to swing at the Otama lest we get to heal it back to life with a Momonosuke blocker later. Right. Still running 2 of in the deck. Here we were going over. I think he misunderstood the Sabo. I think he thought it was like if you have like a face up life or something like that. So just different effect. But you know, we're all kind of playing with like new cards, to be honest, with like the premium booster stuff and like revisiting some older decks, you know. But yeah, that kind of an early game aggression, you know, on 4 Dawn, you can even play out a 1-cost searcher too. So just after the Mihawk Hawkins, just go super wide, super aggressive. Your opponent has to respond to board, and it is super, super, super good. Going first, obviously, it's a little bit less efficient, like super early game, you know. Why do you need to take a life if you're not going to hit him with a banish, right, that you want to connect? You could play it out, you know, just for a future turn, right? Because going first on 3 Dawn, you play out Otama, swing 6 or even 5 if you want to play out a searcher. You could use the effect, you might not need to, but then on 5 Dawn, use Otama, swing 8 and then play out 5-cost Momo blocker to heal Otama to life. So that way, you know, you got to apply pressure, establish your 5/6 blocker, and then just heal a 2k back to your life, which I really, really like. So a lot of good use case scenarios with it. But also I kind of want to just yap a little bit about Premium Booster 2 set 13 coming up. We've seen by the time we're recording this, the set 14 leaders are out too, and I think like they've all been confirmed from like what we've seen in the leaks, so that's pretty cool. I think some very interesting effects. The set 13 power creep, I've talked about it before on the channel. I don't want to be doom and gloom about it, but it does make it feel less exciting to bring some of my favorite off-meta decks to locals. I'll still go to locals, maybe not as much, but there's just a lot of like, if you're not playing with the new leaders, it's going to be a very uphill battle. And we've been in these situations before. That's just the nature of card games. Things have to get stronger. Oh, and here we're just kind of going for it, right? No life, no blockers. So he has like a big hand, like 8 cards or so. So we just go 11 at life. And I believe he does get out of it here. But we're at a lot of 2Ks in hand, 1 life. So I actually felt safe to do that. I was going to heal with the Momonosuke blocker, but I decided I'd rather, and I think we got him down to 1 in hand. So sometimes you do want to leave the Hody up until you kind of guarantee get it, because BY will play out a lot of blockers so that the Hody can help. And also a lot of times they are staying at a 7k leader. So, but I decided I was safe enough with the hand that I had. So I was going to just pressure his hand size. He's down to 2 cards in hand, so we're feeling pretty good. But yeah, the nature of a card game, they're going to want to make bigger and better stuff to entice you to buy new sets, right? That's just power creep in general and how it works, right? I don't know. But as somebody who makes a lot of off-meta content, obviously locals is a different story, right? Like, you can do well at locals with whatever. And also, locals, for a lot of, like what I've said, the point is not always just to win. Obviously, that is kind of the point. But, like, if you're having fun, then it's like, you can still have fun and not win a match, right? If your deck does what you aimed for it to do, if you built a deck around a certain purpose, a certain win condition, and you still get that off, but maybe you don't win. For example, say I'm just goofing off playing Kaido Linlin build and Robin, right? I've played that before. I've got off the combo, but still lost the match. But I was like, hey, I did what I aimed to do with the deck, so it was kind of fun, right? Stuff like that. So there's things we can do for locals. I'm not trying to like be like, oh, I can't play the game anymore because, you know, blah, blah, blah. But he plays out the new ace to essentially Gecko Moria, get the Sabo out. And I think as we're discussing here, you can't use the Sabo effect to take that life to draw, because per Luffy's effects, the face-up life card would just go to the bottom of the deck, so it wouldn't count as going to hand. It's similar to using a Flampe in this situation. If you used a Flampe to take that life, you wouldn't draw the card from Flampe because you didn't take the card to hand. It went to the bottom of the deck. So ruling to know. But here he has nothing in hand, right? I think so. We're just and he's a 7k leader, so we're just going a bunch of 7s to math it out with all the blockers, right? But yeah, I'll still be playing in set 13. I don't have any big tournaments in set 13, so you know I'm not gonna be worried about super going hard about learning some of the new matchups for like playing Ace or Emu. I think if I do play competitively, I would probably play Ace because I think the deck is pretty fun. Emu looks very interesting, but the only thing that I am doom and gloom about is like from my limited testing of it and watching of it, Ace and Emu matches, they just go on forever. A lot of these decks just go on forever with those two leaders because they're very resilient. You know, the recurring, the searching, the draw power in Emu, the counter event, like they can be very long matchups, which can be pretty exhausting to play through. But we end up winning round 1, pretty fun. Just Kuma being very strong, pressuring Banish when we need to, right? Very cool to see BY coming back, getting some play. Again, I think somebody did do pretty well with it recently in a regional, I want to say, which is awesome to see. But shout out to round 2 against Enel, one of our worst matchups, right? Famously. We do have answers to it, right? The more things we can do. We got some Banish, we got the Mihawk Hawkins combo in here, we got a Hody. Kuma, very nice card, as it's harder to remove. You can still swing with it, and you know, we go 5 at life. He does take both of them, right? As you do, because you can't counter out of one, right? If you take, you do commit to taking the both. We go Mihawk Hawkins. Not a lot of counter in hand, but you know, we got the Hody event and Hody, right? So we'll try to just be aggressive. He goes 5 at Hawkins, and we trash his top life. And here I think he didn't recognize the alt art, so he didn't know that was the trash Hawkins. But I think you still probably do. As a Enel, I think you try to survive 1 life, but you have a big hand because it just hit you with a double attack. You're probably chilling, right? Because again, if you leave that Hawkins from the start of the game, that's a 5k that's going to be, especially if you're down to 2, like that is a lot of pressure early, right? But then he goes one of the KO events, right, that gets rid of the Mihawk. So I didn't anticipate losing both, but we just go Banish at the life, just, you know, hoping to get some cards out, honestly, and I didn't have another play, really. So it was unfortunate to lose both the Hawkins. I might have wanted to counter out to save the Hawkins, but I was hoping to at least keep the Mihawk, right? Because then we could have pressured his life here way more. But then he Kumas, so very bad spot. I've debated putting in 1 copy of the 9-cost Zoro just to make up this matchup a little bit better, but I don't know. I feel like I've played enough against Enel that I don't know. I expected him to counter out of the 5k the very beginning of the first double attack, but you know, I typically don't swing against Enel unless I have the Banish, right? Or a purpose to be swinging, right? You need to like time when you're doing it. We goes for our own Kuma just to establish something, really. We trash the event because I don't think he's gonna run too many blockers. I think he does have the Sanji blocker in there from PRB02. But yeah, I don't really want to like heal too much because again, we're getting starved out. This is also a great example of Otama being a good card for this matchup, right? Like he goes 7 to life, we get no trigger, is what it is. But yeah, set 13 definitely. I'm excited about some leaders for sure, right? He goes Gadatsu to get rid of my Onami. And we'll see if he swings here. There's 3 Dawn open still. He passes. So we draw Ashura Doji, as I just glazed the card, kind of like, you know, not great. But we get the Otama. And here I could clear the Kuma, most likely. I could pressure the Kuma, heal him up, and then just hit him double attack anyway, because, you know, I don't know. Like, Sabo seems like a really fun leader to play. Ace has been pretty fun too. I haven't really dabbled into Emo too much, but I know the deck is... And here, like I said in the beginning, you know, you can play out Otama, swing pretty big, and then heal up the Otama. We go 8 of life. I think I will take set 13 as a challenge. You know, we've played so many off-meta stuff, and I've long preached, like, enjoying your time playing the game, no matter what you end up playing, even if it's not like a super meta leader. I'm gonna try my best. I probably should have picked up the rush. But we had Hody, so I didn't know. But I probably should have still picked up the rush Momo. I overestimated like him starving me out versus using Hody, so you know. But my board's kind of wide, so I was like, I don't know. He goes to pop the Momo blocker with the Yamato, and then he's gonna heal in a sec. But he's going over the new card again because, you know, a lot of people's first time seeing it. I'm gonna try my best to win with my decks. You know, I'm gonna try my best because there is new support for a lot of stuff too, some of the older leaders. But I will dabble in both. As the channel progresses, I want to adapt my content in ways to match the overgrowing state of the game, right? He is hitting me a lot, but we have some heals. I do want to like talk and cover more meta stuff, tournaments. I am going to a regional soon. My first in-person regional since like set 7, right? Very excited about that. We go 7 lead banish. He gives me 2 2Ks, so that's good info. We go 7 Akadatsu. And I think I'm going to play another Kuma. We form a blocker with Izo and pass. So feeling actually pretty safe here. Hoping that my Kuma like lives. Hoping like he doesn't. But the thing was with Enel, he doesn't care about me healing, right? It might, maybe should, but it depends on what he's got going on in his hand, right? Because if I get a lucky trigger body from life, then it's like, you know. That's why you saw I had a Neko Mamushi in there. That's a one-of because I just didn't feel like finding a replacement for it. I had 2 in the deck, and then I replaced the second one with a 4th Kuma. And that's why he doesn't care about KO on my Kuma, because he had the trash, right? But and I knew I couldn't save it from everything. I might have been able to save the Kuma, depending on what he wanted to play out. But I was anticipating like a 10 cost Russian L or something. So we'll see. But yeah, I want to. I got the tournament coming up. You know, I still, even though with as much off meta stuff I play, I still do take the game, you know, seriously and everything. And here we're going over. Actually, somebody came over with a question about I think 0 cost and double attack. Actually, I think there was another Enel matchup going against Yamato. Funny enough, something like that. He goes 6 of life, and we block. And he has 2 in hand, 2 Dawn open. We do have a few swings, right? But my debate here is if I play out Izo to form a 6k banish attack at lead, does he counter out of that, right? Does he counter out of that? If we had Otama, that'd be kind of nice, but we don't have Otama on the board. We go Hody rest because I don't know if he's running any like the 1 cost events like the El Thor or something. He could just be bluffing, right? But we play Hody. We go 7 of life, hoping you don't got triggers. I think even if I don't get the attack off with the 6k banish and he counters out, then I can pivot using Hody and Kuma to swing at the board, get rid of his Kuma, his Gadatsu, maybe, and then attach 2 rested to form a blocker with Izo and possibly live like that. But he's got 3 in hand. We go 9 of life. I'm going a little higher in case he counters out of this heavily. I need to form, I think, an attack with one of the 1-cost searchers. So that's why I'm swinging a little weirdly. He takes. We go 9 of life. And he's 0 cost and gives it 2k. So even if we went 7 and then 5, still would have got out of it. So here I'm like, oh, I'm so dead. I do run a 0 cost event in the deck, so I'm not like going like too crazy. We do have some counter as well, so it depends. It depends on what he swings. If we get anything lucky, if he wants to play a 10 cost or a 9 cost to heal, we might be able to get out of some of the swings, right? We do have a 2k, 1k, 1k, so it's not like we got bricks, but he ends up going for board, and that kind of saves us, right? He ends up trying to say, okay, I can probably control to set up to win for the next turn, which is what a lot of Enels kind of do. I don't blame them. If you feel in control, like the board is just a couple of 5k swings, but they require 2 Dawn, like they're essentially 3k bodies on my board, so not like anything deadly, right? But now I know he's going to play something to heal, right? So he goes 5 of life. We 1k so I don't die to like the bigger attacks coming, right? Plays Yamato, KO one of them, and heal. And I believe he passes with 1 Dawn open. Hody top deck. What can I say? Sometimes you just flex on the haters. We're just joking. We go 5 and he takes. Draw 2, trash 1, and then so he trashes a 2k. So I'm like, okay, he's got counter now. He's got a 2k now. Something, right? So he's debating on what to pitch. But if we go, I think he's going to be down to 1 card. So we have all 10 Dawn open. So we can go. We have to play out Hody in case we need to use the 2 rested Dawn from leader ability, right? We can go 7 and 9. We go 7, he has 1 in hand, so he goes through, and then 9 gets it. So it was basically just a matter of if that last life was any crazy trigger, but we had gone through a lot of his veggies and he countered out some of the 0 cost, so I was feeling very confident like that, there wouldn't be anything crazy there, but it was just a matter of he could have gone for game when we had 3 cards in hand and his board was like this, but you never know. And against Yamato, we're yellow as well, so there could have been like the 0 cost. I actually checked for here. I think it was like Ashra Doji is the last one. The 0 cost is just a 1-of in the deck, so it's nothing crazy. But a little unfortunate that we lost board early after, it would have been better if we had going first a 1-cost searcher on board into the Mihawk Hawkins, just so that we would have had something, right? Because we just lost out early game aggression. Also, if I instead had taken the Momonosuke Rush instead of Hody, we would have definitely been a lot better of a position when we went for game the first time, right? If we used the Momo instead, we would have been a little bit... the swings would have been roughly the same, even though we would have been at 3 life instead of 2, so the Momo would have given our leader plus 1k. But being at 3 life, even if he had chosen to go for game, it probably would have been better in our favor, right? 3 life, 3 in hand. We might have been able to survive, but 2 life and 3 in hand, probably, yeah, unless we get insanely lucky, him going for game that turn probably would have won it. But, maybe you don't want to risk it. At the at the end of the day, we just got really lucky. That Hody top deck won us the game. So another reason I might have wanted to pick up the Momo there. But is what it is. Pretty fun, close matchup. Again, this is a very bad matchup for Yamato, right? And again, why I wouldn't mind like one of the 9-cost Zoros just to help finish it off. That card is just so good into Enel, especially with Yamato being able to attach 2 Rested Dawn to him. So you swing, use the activate main to restand him the first time, attach those 2 Rested Dawn to him, or like after he's out for a turn, you play out Onami to give him banish. So you swing at three banish at him. Pretty big swings, and it's pretty great. It's pretty great. But I don't know. Maybe. Let me know what you guys think. So shout out to round 3, currently 2-0 against Reiju. Very cool to see. Just a couple of set 6 leaders. He plays out a Sanji Searcher. Here you can see our hand is a little awkward, but we got Hody, we got Otama, we got some cards to play out possibly. You know, we're gonna want to just probably put some pressure on, try to get Reiju down to 0 life, even though they're always going to be at like 6 to like 8 cards in hand. It's a little hard, especially with that 4-cost Reiju coming out, right? We just go 8 at life after drawing into the Hawkins. Not going to use the Otama yet. Again, 2 Dawn to go plus 3k can be used very late game to buff, to really, again, against a deck that has a lot of cards in hand, right? He does take, so that's good for us. There are still some bricks in Reiju, you know, even though they have a ton of cards in hand, there can be a decent amount of bricks, especially early game, right? Especially early game. As you can see, he had the stage, so he trashes the 7-cost EGG, the one with no counter. So again, that was a couple of bricks, so glad we connected that. So now we can hopefully get some trigger bodies. Being 2 of them in our hand makes the chance a little bit lower, but you know. Here he accidentally took 4 cards with the stage search, so he was just like, yeah, just bottom deck one of them for me. Again, it's a locals, it's what it is. He gets another 7 cost, which is pretty threatening, but he already had 1 in trash, so I'm not like super worried about that. The fact that he picked up another one, that actually just means that he's got another brick in hand. He goes 6 at us, and we go 2k. I believe we go 2k. I think I go 2k here. Yes, we go 2k here, because I know there's going to be, even though it was only 2 Dawn left, so it was only the Reiju coming out. You know, definitely have to be worrying about the future turns. He plays out the newer Reiju 2k counter that searches and then places the rest in the trash. So he finds the 4 cost and the rest go in the trash. Kind of crazy, but you know, it helps set up Reiju very well, right? But that's a 2k counter he played out. We know he has the 4 cost in hand. So that's a 1k from the other 4 cost too. But yeah, very big hand size here. So I'm debating, like, I'm at 4 life. I could just try to pressure him down to 0, which is kind of, I think, what we're about to do. Yeah, we just go, yeah, big 10 of life. I think I was debating playing out the Hawkins, but I think I'd rather just try to set up myself to go for game, right? I know for the most part, Reiju doesn't run like too many blockers. I think there's like a 1 cost blocker for the deck, I'm pretty sure. But I mean, we have Hody, right? We have Hody. And here, yeah, he starts countering out. Even though he gave us like 5 cards, he's going to draw most of them back. So, but we put him on the defensive, you know, instead of him going crazy at us. Now he's got to play more, draw those cards back, right? Instead of just playing out like an Ichiji and like swinging, maybe he plays out more of the card draw, right? He gets the 4 cost off the search, pitching a non-counter card. We could have played out Otama and gone even higher that turn. However, the Sanji on the board means that Sanji can swing into Otama. Otama doesn't eat up an attack. He plays out the Sora to get a 2 cost out of trash, to play that back out, to play out a 4 cost to draw 2. Plays that out of trash, not a hand, right? So again, it's fine. Locals. draws a few cards, right? Like 3, 2 from Reiju, 1 from leader ability. So like I said, already going back up in hand size. Plays out another stage over top of the stage, searching. So going through a lot of searching. Like I said, he had the Porsche in hand and a 4-cost, but because we swung so high, and he goes 5 and 5, and we go 1 and 1 again, just to, you know, we go 2 down for Otama. Instead of like being aggressive with his turn, he played a little defensive to get his cards back in hand and fix his hand. So we go 8 at life, and he takes. And then I think we're going to play out the Momo. Yep. Heal the Otama back to life. And yeah, trigger, she rests a 4-cost out of life. So actually pretty relevant to this matchup, right? There's a lot of 4 costs on the board, but we're still at 4 life. So even if he plays out some rush cards, we're kind of chilling. Yeah, we've got some Hodies. And we're just probably going to go for game the next turn. He goes 5 at life. I think we got our 1 here just in case, but now we should start taking the hits. He goes 5 again. We take, trying to see if we get any trigger bodies. Plays out a Reiju. Play out the 4-cost, draw 2, I want to say. Yep. So draws a bunch of cards. But with Otama, like you'll see in a second, the attack value of Otama, essentially when you have a character on board, Otama doesn't have to buff just Land of Wano character or leaders either. I believe it's not leader locked at all. So it's kind of crazy for a yellow card, right? Playing this out, the 2 Dawn rested, attach those 2 rested Dawn to your character, you're getting 5 Dawn of value off of 2 Dawn. So it's like actually crazy aggression, right? He plays out the 4-cost Ichiji to go rush Ichiji, goes 7 at life. We take no trigger bodies, although yeah, we're about to go like 18 at life with this Momonosuke blocker. It's kind of crazy, right? Because that 5, this 2 Dawn essentially buffs up him to 11k, right? Plus like 8, so it's like 19 at life, I think. It's kind of crazy. So end up taking round 3, you know, pretty good use case of the Otama, I'd say, right? It was a little overkill, I'd say, little overkill, but I think he had like 8 cards in hand, and I didn't feel like doing the math to count out if he could get out of a 16 versus an 18, right? I'd rather just guarantee get it, I guess. But GG, shout out to my man. Fun night so far, 3-0. But shout out to round 4. Look at this hand, brother. We're going first against Red Sanji. I am a little bit afraid, to be honest. Sanji got so much support. I would have liked for like an Ashura Doji to be in here, right? But we got the Hody event. We got the Mihawk Hawkins combo. He plays out a Kureha whiff, so that's actually like, and we got a Otama 2k, so we go 5 of life, get some cards out of his hand. Maybe, I don't know if he takes. No, he does. Yeah, he counters out. We go Mihawk Hawkins, you know, our favorite 3-Dawn option sometimes. Pretty much every matchup, I would say. It's really good. It's just really good, you know. If we had a 1-cost Yamato instead of the Hody event, that'd be actually pretty good, but you know. Yeah, I would say I have this card as a 1-of in the deck, but like it's really nice just to have in there as an option if you see it, right? To have another option for resting blockers. It's good into Blackbeard. Obviously, we have a decent matchup into Blackbeard anyway. He goes into the Hawkins. We could have saved it, but we let it go, trashing the light because we don't have any banish either. So I kind of wanted to get him down lower. So he's playing the animal package, which kind of surprised me, but also it's just super good for aggro, right? He gets a super wide board. We go 8 of life banish, and he loses the 2, so getting down to 2 life pretty nicely. We go 6 of that chopper, And here I'm thinking we're going to get it out, but he does give 2 and 1 to save the chopper, which fair enough. But now, because of that chopper playing a card out of his hand, the hiking bear, and then he just countered out to save it, his hand is only 1, right? So he does have a wide board, scary board, but he's at 2 life, which is very lethal to be against Yamato. And we're still at 4. We're still at 4. We've got Akuma as well. So 2 2Ks, Akuma, a card I could trash for Akuma to heal or use for counter, right? We'll see. But also if he's playing like the 4-cost Sanji, no, Kobe, right, to draw a card, that could be pretty good. He could have a lot of blockers. He goes 4 into the Mihawk. We let it go because I only have 4 in hand. I'm not going to save it from all the other attacks, especially since he has a chopper on board, that the 3/4 chopper right there. They can just swing into it for free. He doesn't have to attach any onto it. So yeah, the animal build for here actually super good against Yamato because we play a lot of our lower power bodies that can swing with our leader ability, right? He swings with the chopper, finds the blocker chopper, but it's rested, so you know we're chilling. He buffs with the hiking bear, he buffs the chopper to go 5, and we go 2 because he still has like 5 Dawn open. So I'm expecting 2 swings at us. We KO the chopper searcher, and then what does he play out? The rush Zoro, and goes 6 at us, and we take no trigger body. Trigger body would be really great if we got a Kikanojo. That'd be so good. But here we're at 7 Dawn, and he's at 2 life, 1 in hand. So my initial plan is swing 5, play out Kuma to heal, leave 1 Dawn open for the counter event. So we're back up at 3 life with a 3K event. And I was also going to try to clear the hiking bear or something with our Onami. Or no, probably just swing into the blocker. But he uses Mulgun to minus our Nami by 4K. And he has like 2 in hand, so we get it perfectly with the rush from Hody. So yeah, my initial plan was to, on 7 Dawn, play out Kuma, leave 1 Dawn open. But since he took with 1 in hand, he took the 5K from Yamato. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to play Hody and go 10 in life because mathematically, you know, we got it, right? But yeah, that was, and of course, Kikanojo was our last life. So if we had not countered it at all, we would have had Kikanojo. So we definitely could have gone for game then, right? But it is what it is. Very aggressive, both of us, 2 aggro matchups. It was funny because I think there was, from like the top 4 people from the locals, it was like us, and then the next 2 were like 2 Enel players. So like the matchups were like the 2 turtle like starve decks versus 2 aggro for like the top 4. So we ended up winning. So we won locals on Yamato. Very cool to finally get a win on Yamato in the books at locals. And I don't think I messed up anything this time. I don't think I made a brain fart and like did something out of turn, right? So I'm very happy about that. You know, I did try to take my time a lot because I think I will be playing Yamato for my regional, to be honest. So that's my little announcement. I think I'll be taking Yamato to regionals. I've been playing the deck since set 6 when the leader came out. I've loved it. It's very fun, aggressive deck. The new support has been just tremendous from the starter decks from like set 11 to the premium booster cards. I'm loving the aggression. I'm loving it. It's got pretty good matchups for some decks, you know. And also, I'd rather have fun at the big tournament than be like hating what I'm playing for 8 rounds. I'd rather enjoy the deck that I'm playing for like 8 or 9 rounds, right? That's my take on it. But, you know, felt pretty good to do well at locals, you know, with my silly leader, you know, tier 2 or whatever. I don't know. I haven't really been looking at tier lists for this set. It's very short-lived set, but I think the regional I'm going to will be premium booster 2. It won't be set 13 yet. So my last premium booster 2 event. But yeah, let's go over the deck list again. There were a couple of one-ofs that we might just get rid of. So this was my list that I was running. Again, I'd probably just cut the Nekomamushi to put in Onami, maybe. I don't like running 8 banish sometimes feels overkill to me, but at the current point, I'm like, I'd rather swap this out for like a 1k counter. I also do kind of like it in the deck because it gives another option for Mihawk. He's easy to be swung into, so you'll have to defend him, but it's still another backup where I'd rather play out the 1k counter rather than like a 2k counter off of Mihawk to get some value off of him early game. Of course, you want to play out Hawkins off of Mihawk or like Kikanojo, maybe. Easier to defend, but probably just cut this for another Onami or something. Maybe another Momo Rush even, but then it's the brick in the deck. You could put another zero cost into, maybe another... I don't even think you need the Hody event at 2. The Demonic Aura event, right? But to keep more counter in the deck, maybe another zero cost, or another Onami, or maybe you just cut the Hody event and put into 2 Nekomamushi, or you cut the Momo blocker. But we had a lot of value off Momo blocker too, so I don't know. There's like a lot of you know, we don't have like a ton of bricks either. Like there's a lot of like 1Ks and 2Ks, and also we have the Kuma to heal. We have a zero cost, right? This is still technically a counter event. So maybe I could cut him for the 9 cost Zoro if I wanted to run it. It's up in the air. It's up in the air. Let me know what you guys think of the list, of course, down in the comments. Let me know what you're playing in Premium Booster 2. Hope you guys enjoyed another fun locals. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you all in the next one. Bye-bye.